Hello and welcome to the New American Republic, and in this episode I am going to continue my conquest down to the south into Mexico. I am not sure if I'll be able to take all the states in this episode, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to start off with my first target being here, the Houston Rockets. So I am going to remove them from my faction. As you can see here, they're still part of the NCR. So I'm going to have to kick them from the faction and then justify my war goal. Now I have a claim state, so I'm going to take Houston. Cost me 18 political power and take me 90 days. And I have very few focuses I wish to still complete. But one I'm going to start off with is to get another old enclave unit leader. And so the focus I'm going to be doing is an out of uniform sergeant. My discussions with Mr. Douglas Granite have given me some rather interesting insight into the whereabouts of many current and former enclave personnel. One of which being a Sergeant Ark Doran, who's been living in Vault City under the false name of Chad Rayner for the last 30 years. The Enclave haven't always been friendly, but in my dealings with the good Colonel, a loud voice and a sharp crack of the whip are always good to have in times of war. And I'm going to get the event shutting the front door. Now before I hit start on this episode, there was some concern from some people that by giving the baggers so much territory here in Colorado, I have possibly lost a lot of my production. I just want to assure you that with 529 arms factories and 57 dockyards, I still have many factories to do whatever I need get done, more than I actually need in fact, and I'm sure to get more as I continue coring as I go along. But with that said and done, let me get started. Here we go, shutting the front door. For Dorian, meeting the President was supposed to be a great honor, a lifetime goal or achievement, a symbol that he had made his mark on the world. And yet, in spite of all he hoped, he found himself meeting a president, not just the right one. He had once had dreams of serving alongside the great Frank Horrigan, serving on the Richardson Presidential Secret Service. It all went up in a nuclear fireball in the fall of 2242 when the oil rig exploded. He had done his best to keep his men calm and his plasma rifle charged, but after 4 years of holding the NCR off, however, he found himself with more empty suits of Mark II power combat armor, and his plasma rifle had run out of charges long before that. Doran's men never had any qualms with his leadership, despite how many of his men snidely referred to him as their mean old sergeant. But Doran knew that if he wished to make a new living for himself in this enclave-free world, he would need a new identity, and so Chad Rayner was born. A short buzz cut, a pair of tinted glasses, and a salvage set of leather armor completed the illusion. But Doran never forgot where he came from. It was one of the reasons that he almost immediately ended up outing himself in Vault City. Upon taking the citizenship test, he immediately nearly wrung Proconsul Gregory's neck, screaming at him at how he lived in the most glorious bastion of America in the wasteland, yet was squandering it by making his men go through, as Randa put it, a livid pencil neck wet dream to make sissies out of the real men. Gregory's neck was spared from a permanent injury, thankfully due to the interference of Citizen Sergeant Stark. The two men shouted until their faces just about turned blue. Finally, after nearly an hour of civil conversation, or a shouting match as Gregory called it, the two men agreed to compromise. Due to Rayner's previous experience in a highly classified pre-war military operations group, one that was responsible for Vault City to begin with, as Rayner was so kind to explain to Stark, he would not only be made a citizen, but would also become a sergeant within the Vault City Guard, no questions asked. with full confidence that the NCR would never learn of its true heritage. Reynolds' thoughts were interrupted at the squawk of the intercom, signaling that President Hayes was ready to see him. Preparing to step through the door, Ark Doran prepared to adopt his Chad Rayner identity once more, not knowing what to expect from the man behind the door. Okay, you're out of uniform sergeant, so we get a level 6 unit leader and 2 units of advanced power armor are added to the national stockpile. Okay, that is not 2 troops or units. That seems to be just the equipment, I think. Now, I'm not going to take another focus for now. I want to bank up some political power. There are some focuses I want to do, just not yet. Now, my justification against the Luminous ones is finished. I started this justification towards the end of the previous episode, just so I could clean up the map a little bit here. This should not be a problem at all for Colonel Moore's second army. Nope, that was not a problem at all. So I'm going to take all of that land and then I will begin setting up the second army for my advance south into Mexico. Now it's time for me to take care of the Houston Rockets. So I'm going to take my claim state. Now I've been a little bit sneaky with this one because while we were still in the faction, they had 18 units up north here which are now isolated. This is just happy coincidence on my part, and I do believe it is time for me to start a focus. Now this is just an experiment I want to do. I'm going to take the focus the Baja Republic. Rather than spending Californian lives to tame the Baja, we can use our economic power to create a state favorable to our interests. At the very least, it will stop raiding our towns. So normally what this does is the Paz Bandits and the Vale Bandits join together to become the Baja state. Now I want to see if it will still just be the Vale Bandits that turn, or if the Baja Bandits will also join, even though they've been conquered by the Holy Senora Federation. But we're going to find about that just now after this war's over. Now Houston is finally part of the North American Republic, and that focus we did in the previous episode would actually make a lot more sense if I did it now. So I'm going to set up the rest of First Army now to prepare for what is probably going to be my most challenging enemy since I took on the Legion. And Baja has joined the NCR. After concluding negotiations with the local cartels on the peninsula, Garez of the Paz Bandits announced the formation of the Baja Republic, followed immediately by its entrance into the new California Republic as an autonomous state under his leadership. The product of concerted diplomatic effort by President Grant C. Hayes, the NCR has recently invested a significant amount of resources into establishing trade routes into the region, laying the groundwork for an organized state. These efforts appear to have borne fruit, as the NCR has now effectively gained control of the peninsula, and by extension the Gulf of California, without firing so much as a single bullet. Although many NCR citizens are displeased that the ringleaders of Baja's cartels have been found new positions in the nascent state, the end of Baja's banditry will nonetheless come as a major relief to the people of Southern California, and welcome to the Republic. Now, the interesting thing to note is even though they previously belonged to the Holy Senora Federation, quite a nice surprise is that I have received all their land, and if I'm going to go to war with them, which I probably will very soon, there's a couple of units that seem to be stuck there. So that's great. Now with this focus comes a decision, and that is to take control of the Baja state. Now if you click this, you will actually change over to the Baja state and have their focus tree. So I am definitely not going to take that option. Instead, it is time for me to get ready for the war down south with the focus O Mexico. After the fall of the Navarro territories, I've recently become aware of the efforts of the Poseidon Energy, though their Mexican subsidiary Petro Chico is making one of the most advanced artificial intelligence systems of all time and using it to monitor the whole of Mexico for American interests. I know not what the state of Mexico is in this day and age, but perhaps an expansion there will sate my curiosity, and I'm going to unlock decisions that will let us start the Mexico campaign. And just in the nick of time, my improvised mass driver, aka the Gauss Rifle, is ready. So I am of course going to start researching the M72 Gauss Rifle and put these babies into production straight away. Oh Mexico, I'm definitely coming for you. Now as you may see, this is quite a mess of different lines that I've had to set up, because I'm not sure if I'm going to go to war with the Rio Pact, Holy Senora and Genta De Sol all at the same time, or if I'll be able to take them on one by one. But I'm preparing for the worst, so I've made sure that I have every possible land crossing covered. Now there are no more focuses that I want to do for the foreseeable future until I've conquered all this land. So I'm going to again be sticking to banking my political power for coring. Now the decision I'm going to take is a land down south. So it's going to cost me 50 political power and take 70 days. I won't be able to justify any war goals during that time, but when it's removed, I will have claims and a war goal for the Holy Senora Federation's core territories, amongst others. So let's take that, and we'll see what happens in 70 days. Okay, the time has come to start my push down to the south. Now something I want to point out is that when this decision is finished, you don't get an event or anything like that. Instead, you just get the notification up top here. This is why I actually took out the Houston Rockets, so that I would see this happening, even though it has actually added an extra front on that I have to now protect. Now you may notice I've changed 8th Division back to a fallback line here. With there only being one state in a column down here, I am very concerned that this will stretch my line too much and give too many opportunities for units to be encircled. So my plan in the east is to have the fallback line. They can push up. I can then form a normal front line with a objective to push down south here, and also I can push hopefully push 14th Division in here and across the river, and then join up to make an armor group order. I have gone over this very large front line over and over again, and I believe I have got all the possible river crossings covered. Now I am outnumbered, I reckon about 2 to 1, but I am confident that my units are superior to theirs. So right now I'm not planning on calling in any of my allies in. My plan is to first take out Genta De Sol over here, as they are the weakest of the three, and also I want to hope that they don't call in the other nations of the Rio Pact straight away, but we'll have to see how that goes. Okay, and unfortunately almost instantly they've called Rio Grande into the war. So I'm now actually going to push in with 14th over here so I can try to get across this river crossing. I'll let them push, the AR push their troops up here against 8th Division. And I'm also going to ask, who's this? This is 1st and 2nd to just push down here so see if I can get across this river over here. I suspect Holy Senora is going to join quite soon. There is a large temptation for me to just push attack on everything. Ah yes, there's Holy Senora joining the fight. It's tempting to just push attack on everything and hope for the best, but now, as you can see here, okay, let's say I'm outnumbered exactly 2 to 1. They are already losing, have higher losses than myself, which is great. I just don't want to risk losing any units from encirclement, as that is going to hurt me twice as much as it's going to hurt them. Okay, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of these little pause and updates for you here so I can share stuff. Genta De Sol is going quite well. I have told 5 units from 10th Division to push in here. I just want to try to secure this little spur of land over here so I can secure these crossings and get in here. Fighting between 1st and 2nd is going quite well. Unfortunately, my fallback line has broken here with 8th Division, so because I've got a gap in the line here, I feel my only choice is actually to delete this fallback line and set up my front line. Wrong unit. There we go. Set up my front line as it is now. Hopefully, because they'll be coming in from the sides, no one's going to get into this little gap here and get isolated. I am doing quite well here on this little bit, just trying to cut them off so I can take this land and move across. Any units I can encircle myself is going to be great. I do not have air superiority in a lot of the airfields. That is something I'm just going to have to battle along with. But on some good news, I've received a major naval victory, taking out a whole bunch of their ships. They do not, okay, they do have some heavy ships, but it looks like upgrading my ships is doing good in the end. Alright, believe it or not, I'm actually going to stop the advance of 1st and 2nd Division. Reason being is they are frankly advancing faster than I anticipated, and as you can see here, I am opening up quite a few of opportunities for Rio Pact, especially to actually encircle me, and that is going to cause me so many headaches I don't even want to think about it. Oh, there's actually so much land here. Okay, they're going to have to actually push across. I need first here, they actually need to push across as quickly as they can and just take, it'll be easier if they just take this whole peninsula area over here as fast as they possibly can. Make sure everyone is attached. There we go. Okay, they need to push fast. Another problem I've had is here in Austin. They are pushing around the corner there. So now they pull troops off here, take them out, and hopefully push them back in. I really want to try join up 8th and 14th into an army group order, so I can push in here from the west. Genta De Sol is putting up a pretty good fight, but still losing. And Holy Senora, I've almost finished crossing over, so I can put this whole 10th army into one order and start pushing south here. This is a nightmare of micromanagement, there's no doubt about that. So if you are playing this, I advise a lot of pausing to make sure that things don't go pear-shaped. Alright, Genta De Sol has been captured. That's the first major capital that's happened to. So now I can actually take these two units and make an army group order across here, and Cassandra's going to take her people and try to push all the way right along here. Now this is, I haven't lost any units left, but I've got some encircled here. It is literally, it might be minutes for you, but this is taking me ages to get everything done so that I can fight effectively. I'm currently losing trains here in South Texas, so I've taken all my available fighters that I normally keep for making sure that my transport planes have air cover, move them down to South Texas here to help out the two squadrons here already, as I have no air superiority in a lot of areas. But as for how the war's going, let's have a look. Republic of Rio Grande is surprisingly already 27%, so a quarter of the way there. Thankfully they are losing 4 times the amount of manpower I have, but they probably have a lot more in store. I started with about 5,000, so I've lost about half of mine already. What's really I'm enjoying is the fact that there's been a lot of naval combat here in the Gulf of California, and so far I am absolutely destroying their navies, which is helping me give a bit of a mental boost going forward, because this land combat is an absolute nightmare. Okay, this is still rather a, for a better word, abortion of a freaking war right now. I am still winning, surprisingly enough. I can't believe Rio Grande is so close to capitulation already, over 50%, and Genta De Sol is putting up a hell of a fight. I am running dangerously short of spare manpower, and am facing a small, didn't come up as a naval invasion. They must have just, I don't know, I'm not sure if this, they must have come across here somehow, come in there, so I've sent my power to take that out. 2 incredibly difficult squares I'm having to take is here. Quite a lot of special forces grouped up in this area, and it's becoming quite a mission to actually take that land. But it's not all doom and gloom. I have got a one army group order here, as you see with second, and I've been able to create a army group order with 8th and I believe it is 10th divisions over here. So things are improving, but having to micromanage around all these rivers and on still such a wide front, this is definitely the most micromanaging I've had to do so far this campaign. Alright, that's another in what seems to be an endless amount of naval victories for me. Things are, I want to say, going well, but the fact that I'm on 0 manpower now means that would be a little bit of a lie. But it's not all doom and gloom. Just quite stressful taking care of all these land crossings over and over and over again. I can't wait until I can get down to about here somewhere and then it's just a straight push down. That's going to be absolutely great. Okay, this is just absolutely amazing. Not only have I just completed researching the M72 Gauss Rifle, which is going to make sure I absolutely obliterate my enemies, I've also finished encircling quite a few units, probably around 10 over here as it is, and the fight is still continuing. Alright, the inevitable has happened, and I have lost a unit here from 8th Division. Not sure exactly when it happened, but it was inevitable that it was going to go down that way. Still struggling with 0 manpower. I am short of 416 for my garrison, not sure for my actual units, but if you had told me that the product of the Rio Grande was such a glass cannon before this war started, I would not have believed you. Ever since I've gotten them on the back foot, they have just been unable to recover. This Holy Senor Federation, on the other hand, has put up a hell of a fight, but I've got a feeling that Genta De Sol is mere moments from actually capitulating, and that is going to be absolutely amazing, so I can get these lines just a little bit more sorted. As you can see here, bit of a breakout happening, and it is annoying the absolute hell out of me. And there we have it. Genta De Sol is done for. So I will now be able to use Second Army to do a proper push here against the Senor Federation. And if this carries on going, the Rio Grande, the big bad boy that I was quite frankly quite worried about, isn't going to last much longer either. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that this is easy. It is not, and this manpower is a serious issue. But one thing I feel confident in telling you, something you can take to the bank, is that once you can get their lines broken, this Rio Pact is actually not the massive demon I was worried it was going to be. Yes, they are definitely not a pushover. Ah, come on. They're definitely not a pushover, but it can be done if you are patient enough and are willing to spend quite a lot of time paused, scrolling up and down this what seems to be never-ending front line. I mean, Rio Pact is now 9%. I need a couple more victory points, and then Rio Pact, which still has so much territory here left to conquer, is actually going to be ready for capitulation. I thought they were really going to be the boogeyman I was going to be fighting right up until the end. Okay, taking a quick break from the war, the Baja state feels that it is time to, or close to, raising its autonomy level. Now, without spending political power to squash them down, what I'm only actually going to do, because I've been banking political power, is I'm going to suppress my subjects, so that'll bring it down a bit. And then one of my favorite tactics is actually to just build in their states, because it actually lowers down the autonomy, and in the long run could actually help me out. So let's put all of these at the top, and every single bit of infrastructure, whatever I build, will actually lower the autonomy, along with the whole of suppressing subjects will do some work as well. Okay, let me carry on. One thing I want to warn you guys about: these little island straits here are becoming particularly annoying due to the fact that the units just keep on popping up here and have this just like backdoor exit around you as you're advancing down. So do be aware of all this. And miracles upon miracles, the Rio Grande has just capitulated. Again, if you had paid me, I would not have guessed that that would have happened. Now, my manpower did jump up a significant amount, taking that territory all the way up to 5,000. That wasn't me. Now I want to check, because the focus that I am looking at doing still requires me to get a few more territories. So I am actually going to start I think this is one of the territories I need, a war goal justification against the Viceroy. Where's the capital? L Force, there we go. 105 days. Okay, let's get that going. What do we have here? Decisions. No, I'm not giving away any guys to power armed scavengers right now. I need the manpower. Alright, basically what I'm just doing here with the Holy Senora is I have set up my entire army on all the front lines around them. I've set both of them to operate aggressively, so they are just attacking in every direction possible and having an absolute field day of this. They are already incredibly close, and although I may be very low on manpower, they have lost more than 5 times what I have. And just to not to burst my bubble, but I've actually done this all alone, which I find quite a relief, so I don't have to spend the war score with anybody else. And they've now lost their capital. Real heroes shouldn't wear city masks or fall so easily. So yes, this is basically all but over. There's some troops here. I think it's probably I've got high resistance in this area, but I'm not too worried about that, as in a few moments, I mean, they literally have 3 victory points left. This will be over and done with, and there's a more trade nodes to add to my amount. And here we have it. The war is over. I have accrued over 51,000 victory points. I am going to be taking everything for myself in one go, and the war's over. A worthy foe, yes, but not undefeatable. Now let me check on this focus I want to do. Possibly the last focus for... I can take it ready. Fantastic. This will probably be the last focus I will be taking for this playthrough, as there are other focuses I could do, but they don't actually give me any advantage for me, so I would rather save up the political power to do other things. So, the good old 51st. In the pre-war era, America was known for having 50 states. After 1969, it had consolidated these into 13 commonwealths. While I do not yet know whether the state or commonwealth system will be better in the long term, our recent expansion to Mexico has necessitated the creation of a new government in the area. General Moore has volunteered her services in creating and maintaining this 51st state, and who am I to disagree with such a lovely woman? So Colonel Moore will be given control over the new annexed territories. And start. So the good old 51st state has been formed, which is now known as the Mexico Territory, which comes with a very nice but small, unique little focus tree, quite similar to Odysseus when you play Realm of Diana. Now, one little word of warning is Moore does start with quite a few units here, and some of them, I reckon about 25, seem to have been acquired from the new American Republic Army. So what I've done is I've already cancelled my justification on the vice royalty over here, as it might actually take part in this unique little focus tree down here. And now I am going to instead start preparing for the conquering of the north of the wasteland, which you all voted for me to do. But this will be the end of this episode. I'd like to thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.